very quickly when you're doing hard drugs, it becomes quite normalized. So, you know, rather than, I just need a few coffees to get myself through this day, it's like, I just need a few hits on this crack pipe. And you just normalize it for yourself, and you justify it, and you're like, I need this to carry on.
Yeah.
And it becomes normal. And then it only becomes a problem when, you know, you end up in a psych ward, or you end up like homeless, or, you know, that's when it kind of like hits home, and it's like, I'm already quite far into this.
What was the catalyst for you of being like, okay, actually I do need to, like, something has to change, or I'm going to end up in a ditch or missing, or like, what was that for you?
I had like a year of rock bottoms. Best year ever. But I'd fallen in love with this American guy, and I moved to the States to be with him. And when I met him, I was a fully fledged alcoholic. And I was doing a lot of drugs, and I was very, very depressed when I met him. But I met him in Laos, in fact, and I was convinced that he'd fixed me.
Right.
I had all the lovely dopamine from falling in love, and I was like, oh my God, this man has fixed me. And so I was doing quite well for a while. Really, it was just a plaster over a huge gaping wound. But yeah, I was doing really well mentally because I'd turned this man into another drug.
Yeah.
And he made me feel very good. But of course, that didn't last. So I moved to New York to live with him. And then, you know, by that time, I was kind of coming down from the high. And it became very apparent that I wasn't just this nice British backpacker, hippie kind of chick.
Yeah.
I was a very depressed drunk. And when I was left alone in his house while he went to work, I would help myself to his tequila. And I became like an absolute mess. Like this, like, crazy person to be around. Like, he would come home from work and I would just be like in a rage, drunk, like blackout drunk. I remember like points of me just like screaming at him. And, you know, I was an active alcoholic, you know, we're difficult to live with.
Yeah.
It's okay when we're in recovery, but when we're actively drinking, you know, living with alcoholics and loving an alcoholic is very, very difficult. So I was just unhinged, out of control. And yeah, he broke up with me, of course, because, you know, I was kind of destroying his life. Like, his housemates were like, hey, dude, who's this drunk British chick that's in our living room? Why is she here?
Right.
She's
he lived
like,
with other people as well.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. And they were like, dude, you have to like leave the house. Like, either you or her has to go.
Yeah.
And then so he broke up with me. And then this is how it happened. I had a visa for Canada to do a working holiday visa in Canada. So in the middle of the night, he packed up, like, after I'd had a tequila session, and I was flying off the handle for whatever reason. He like threw all my stuff in a bag, put it in the car, drove me to Newark Airport in the middle of the night, and then put me on a plane to Canada.
Wow.
And that was one rock bottom, because I really, really loved him. And it really, I really hurt myself in that situation, because I'd completely destroyed something that was really precious to me.
Right.
And I hated myself for that. And I felt a lot of shame. Like, this was all my own doing. Like, it was all my own actions. And I found that so difficult to live with. And then I went to Canada, and I was in crisis, really, to be honest. Like, my family was so far away, but I was in crisis mode. Like, I really needed to be looked after, but I was very far away from everyone who would have looked after me. So yeah, shipped me off to Canada, and that's where I met my crack friend, my cracky boss.
Okay. Yeah, cracky boss.
Yeah, and I was in that. I was so depressed, angry, heartbroken, full of shame. Like, I didn't want to be around anymore. I didn't care about myself. I didn't care. I didn't care if I lived or died. So he was like, do you want some crack? I was like, yes, I will literally, I would inject heroin into my eyeballs right now if you offered it to me. And then that was a really horrible few months being on crack.
Yeah. No one reports it being a good time.
Yeah. It was really horrible. I went on this like almighty binge, and it was just, I didn't sleep for a long time.
Wow.
It was horrible. I was sick. I wasn't eating. I was hardly sleeping. I was just waking up, smoking crack, falling asleep. Look, the only thing I would eat was like chicken wings would get delivered to our house every now and then. So I was so unhealthy. My mental health was shot.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, do you know what will make this better? If I move somewhere else, that'll do it. That'll make me feel better. So I moved to British Columbia on Vancouver Island, and I got a job in a barbecue restaurant, and I was really full on in self-destruct mode. It went all, my job at this barbecue restaurant went well for maybe like a month, and then my drinking got out of hand. I was away from the crack. That was great.
Yeah.
But I was on this war path, I guess, of self-destruction. So I just doubled my drinking. And like I couldn't stop drinking. I'd go to work. I would immediately go behind the bar and just pour myself a glass of vodka. I pretty much didn't care anymore. I would just get rat-assed. And I ended up having a suicide attempt myself.
Right.
I was living in this trailer, and I was drinking so much. My mental health was really terrible, but I think because I was drinking so much that I made the attempt. So I was plastered. And then I ended up in like a psych ward in Canada on Vancouver Island. Like I just gotten wasted, tried to kill myself, and then like my roommate at the time came home and was like, oh my God, called the police. And so I got sectioned. But that wasn't a wake-up call at all.
Which it usually isn't, right? Like this is, I guess, the thing with addiction is that people often, it's like how you go through cycles and cycles and cycles, right? And like maybe you start to think that things might change, and then often people relapse. And like, how do you get to that point then? Like now you've been sober. How long have you been sober? For like
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
What is the final thing that actually like changes or gets you that last time when you become sober and it sticks?
I was finally forced to go home and face up to my mess, basically. COVID hit. So I got out of the psych ward and I went straight to the liquor store, carried on my ways. I'd ended up losing my job as well because I was drunk, like blackout drunk at work, tried to shag my boss, and then tried to get him to give me a drug dealer's number, I think. It's a bit hazy.
Yeah. But he wasn't like employee of the month.
Yeah, exactly. He was not impressed.
No.
Fired me. And that's when COVID hit. And they were like, I was living in like a tourist town. All the other backpackers there were all flying home. Nobody knew what was going on. Everything was so uncertain. So everyone else in the town was flying home. So I was like, oh, I guess I should go home. Like, what's happening in the world? And I flew back to the UK. Like, I had no intentions of going back to the UK. I just wanted to travel the world and run away from myself for the rest of my life. Like, I was going to carry on this self-destruction spree until I died, pretty much. But COVID forced me to go home. I moved back in with my mum. And I think it was something about being in my childhood home where I'd experienced like so much trauma, like through my childhood and my teenage years. And being there held up a mirror to me, I think. And I became really reflective about what a mess I'd made of my life and just how miserable I was, you know?
Yeah.
And I had a few days of like lamenting on that. And I think something switched in me where I kind of realized that I didn't actually want to die. And that maybe if I had to do this whole life thing, then maybe I shouldn't be so depressed all the time. And and maybe it would be kind of cool if I was happy.
Yeah.
And I think like I was like, oh, maybe I do deserve to be happy. Maybe I do deserve to have good things and just have like a normal life where I'm not destroying myself all the time. And then I remember I was sat on my childhood bed, like surrounded by like my childhood stuff, like a Furby and a Game Boy, Pokemon cards and stuff. And like something just kind of like clicked in me.